what motivated the marriage? Was there an actual motivator to it?
So yeah, I fell in love. that was hard. It was falling in love isn't what everyone thinks it is. It's emotional, right?
Correct.
And it's great. And but it turns into there's a large sense of responsibility that comes with that. And you want to take care of the person that you love.
What did you get? What did you hope to get out of marriage at the time?
Permanence.
For her to stay?
Yeah.
For her to not to have to go back to college because now she's
in general,
engaged?
permanence. I just wanted to feel like it was can last forever.
It's quite the Disney story.
Yeah, right.
Or the Disney motivator of, wow, I could get married and this will... I want to thank you for clicking on today's video with my friend Chris. He shares a great story with us and all of you and really focuses around parenting and things that he really likes. I shared some of my own personal stories about my own parenting that I've received. And I want to make sure that you guys could hopefully take away from this how to truly start having some of these own conversations in your own life, how to be truly authentic and vulnerable when you share. And I hope that can hopefully increase the intimacy that you have in your own circles. I'll do my best to continue to bring you content like this with people that are willing to be open and honest. I would love to hear back from you on any subject matters that you find interesting, so I could try to find guests that are willing to share with you their own experiences. So with that, enjoy.
No, what I was going to tell you was my experience growing up felt like almost the opposite of what you had as far as
what?
Experiencing emotions. I saw that you mentioned that your emotions were something you were chasing, and you acted on your emotions heavily.
Well, it's something that I recognize for myself, that I allowed them to dictate how I perceive the world. Yeah. So if I was upset because you did something, it's a really sad day, it's bad. The whole outlook right now, I'm sad. This is a horrible day.
Right.
Instead of just saying,
yeah,
what am I sad about? Fix that, and then I can reset my day with you.
Right. And comparatively,
in which way?
I felt like I was the opposite as far as it impacting anything I did. My emotions didn't impact anything for me.
Okay, so why don't we just start there? What is it that or how did you start your life where that podcast about emotions actually resonated with you?
For me, a lot of times, I felt like my feelings weren't validated. So every time I would try and have, express my emotion in general, it was always either ignored. And this isn't overall as far as individual experiences with family members, right? This is just at least how I perceived it. I was being turned away on the basis of, let's not talk about that.
So hold on, let's explore that. What do you mean invalidated? Who invalidated your emotion? And what did that look like? Give me an example.
Hey, I'm mad because I was hit by a relative, or my brother's playing. Something simple, not assaulted,
So you're communicating this to somebody. Who's this somebody?
Father.
Okay. So you went to your dad and you're like, hey, somebody hit me.
Yeah.
And you would say, there's an emotion that you articulate. I feel upset.
I'm angry.
Okay.
Or I would slam a door, right? I was very bad at picking out which emotion that was, at identifying the emotion. So it would I would act out on it, right?
Well, hold on. There's layers to this,
yes.
Right? So there's you understanding the emotion and articulating it, which you would say, hey, Dad, my brother just hit me. I'm really angry about it.
Right.
Is that what you would say?
No.
What would you say?
I would act on those emotions only. There was no identifying, hey, I'm mad. It's screaming, yelling as a child, not verbally expressing that.
So there is you acting on the emotion.
Right.
So I'm assuming you learned that from somewhere. Where did you learn it from?
Probably, I don't know. I don't know where that came from.
Well, this is where we get to explore.
Good.
They had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
You're a child. Children don't do that. Children don't act on emotions. They're taught.
Right.
Now let's look at that. Well, what do you mean you teach a child to be violent? No, I don't think anybody teaches their kid.
Right.
The problem is we're kids and we learn everything from everybody around us. So who around you had that same behavior that they acted on their emotion?
I don't necessarily know who had that behavior is the problem. For me, it was I don't know how to express that emotion.
No, I hear you, right?
Yeah.
But you still have to have a light or a path forward. You have to see somebody and say, oh, that's what you do when you get upset. You destroy things.
Right.
So have you ever actually gone back to look and say, you know what, who do I know in my life at that time that had those similar behaviors? There had to be somebody.
Mm. Back then, it was probably middle of parents getting divorced.
Okay.
And then it was probably, my father, maybe.
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there.
I know. I'm not expressing that. I'm saying that I don't know for sure because I can't remember that.
Are you sure this is not something that you repress? Because have you actually given it time to say, if I sit in my shit, which is what I call it, you sit in your shit like, man, I'm really angry. I don't know why. Like, where did this come from? They had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you said, well, maybe my father, you would say, okay, great. Was it your dad, or is this kind of more, I just want to place it on my father because that's who you feel the anger towards?
It's not even anger at this point.
Well, the emotion, sorry.
Right. I said that emotion. It's not, and I specifically said it's not anger because I believe I'm past it, no matter what it is.
Yeah, but we're exploring that moment.
Right. In that moment, the only thing that I remember is that person being angry on occasion and what that anger looks like. I don't know of anyone else that I can point back and say, this person was angry.
So let's explore that. Anger is what?
An
emotion.
Yeah.
So there's many emotions. Who did you perceive in your life at the time that was very, a lot of people say, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. It's really just an excuse of that you have to act on the emotion.
Right.
That's why it's on your sleeve. It's like, I'm angry. You're going to fucking know.
Right.
You're going to know right now because I wear it on my sleeve. It's like, no, it just runs you. Mm-hmm. Hence where our conversation started.
Yeah.
To me, I felt it was inauthentic not to experience it. I'm being fake to you that I'm angry and I don't share my anger with you. I don't want to be inauthentic.
Right. And
Isn't that crazy,
kind
though?
of came later in life for me, not in early days. Early days, my feelings were you're angry or I'm angry at you or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come back and pretend it didn't happen.
So it's still the avoidance of the emotion.
Right.
What do you think happens when you pile enough of those on?
It compounds, definitely, for sure.
So let's look at behaviors.
Yeah.
Who in your life didn't do well with expressing their emotions? And what was the outcome of that? Did anybody in your life blow up?
Oh, I can tell you, definitely. That's father side of things.
Hey, man, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
So here we go. This is how we explore it. It's fuzzy, right?
Well, my mom wasn't as good at expressing emotion either.
What do you mean by that?
Neither one of my parents were incredibly great at expressing their emotion, as far as like expressing anger, right? My mom would bottle it up. My father would, he'd just pretend it wasn't there. It was avoided. So he would do something or get angry or something would happen and then just pretend it doesn't exist.
So you're saying this, not me.
Yes.
So I'm exploring this now as hopefully an objective observer
Yes.
to say, here you have your experience of a mom that doesn't know how to articulate the emotion. And then you have the complete opposite of that is where your father, you felt, had this approach to, you don't get to talk about it because I don't talk about it.
Right.
No. We don't talk about those things. So imagine there's somebody avoiding it, which I think would be your father, and there's somebody repressing it, which is your mom.
Yes.
Do you see how that's not like a kindle for fire of what you just expressed, that you would walk around as a child and destroy shit because you had to act on the thing? Mm-hmm. So do you see how that's not super confusing for you?
Completely. And then you grow up get a little older, and you start you just avoid it altogether. or repress it. One of those two.
But remember, that's not normal.
What is normal?
Normal is what you experienced.
Right.
But what you're trying to say is, okay, when I look at myself objectively, because it's not was how you grow up. We all grow up, and a lot of people don't grow up with it. It's when you start introspectively looking at your life and things that happen that you start saying, is that normal?
Yeah. And you kind of, well, for me, I don't really know what normal is. Like, what is the baseline kind of
But
thing?
maybe that was normal for you.
Yeah. I mean,
Look at what happened with your parents. Do you have siblings? I never
Yeah.
asked you.
Yeah.
How many siblings?
I have a half older brother and a full younger brother.
Okay. So you have two other people that lived in that same house.
Yes.
And you said half. So I'm assuming they had their parents with somebody else.
Yeah.
So guess what? That person has, I hope, an experience of another household. Fair?
Yeah, definitely.
You don't. That was your household, right?
Right. So when he came to our household, I was able to contrast a little bit. Okay, he is not experiencing the same thing as me to some extent.
That is what he would tell you.
Yes.
You're normal. That's not normal, man.
Okay.
Fair?
That's fair.
That's the only experience you have of knowing this. What do you mean? It happens to everybody.
Well, let's go back. Maybe it's not healthy, but normal, I have no idea.
But that's what I'm getting at is there's people that are going to listen to this. They're like, what is he talking about? That's normal. Parents do that. Yeah, your mom is upset and your dad never talks about it. There's people, that is their normal.
Right.
They can't perceive, which is what you're going to talk about through today, is how you saw something different to you started redefining what is normal. I don't know if that can be my normal now.
Right.
But it was your normal then, and that's where we're at. We're talking about what you came from. So if that was normal, could you see why you looking back at your younger self, you're like, I don't know why I acted like that. It's like, what do you mean you don't know? It seems pretty clear that people in your life, that's how they dealt with things.
Yeah.
So if that's how they dealt with things, why wouldn't you deal with things very similar? Does it really seem that strange that you would do that?
Not exactly. Probably
looking
not.
at it through that perspective, right?
Yeah. It's easy to say, hey, younger Chris, looking at it objectively from the outside, probably wasn't, shouldn't have dealt with that.
I think that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because right now you're looking back at something that happened when you were young. And it's funny, I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day. You look back and you always look through it through your child eyes.
Right.
Because you're not a child now, but your memory is stuck with you as a child. That moment is forever burned in you, however you recorded it. Fair?
Yeah, but in an effort to mitigate that, EMDR was helpful.
Sure.
So it was one of those things to looking back on and trying to let go of.
And what is EMDR?
For
people who may not know.
It's a type of therapy.
Correct.
Yes. I can't really exactly remember what it stands for. Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head the acronym, but I know that it's basically like emotional regression.
Yeah, it is emotional regression.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is they used like sound or clickers or tapping your ears in order to basically to reevaluate, I guess, or to kind of keep you present in the current. Somehow, I don't know how it works, but I know it does. It did for me, at least. Okay.
So it stands for eye movement desensitization. Wow, I can't even say that word. And reprocessing.
Yes.
It is a psychotherapy technique designed to help people heal from trauma and other distressing life experiences by processing disturbing memories. That's a good way to say it. I also just say introspection, like look back.
Well, the way it happened, and again, I don't mind going into this. So they had either these clickers that'll make the best sound going back and forth, or they have you close your eyes and like tap back and forth between your ears so you can hear something. And then you would basically go through that and reprocess that memory.
And what did the sound do for you?
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, that was kind of the interesting thing about it. You don't know if it's working. Maybe it could be placebo,
Right. What did you get from that experience of looking back and doing these exercises?
When you do it, you kind of go through the memory itself and say, well, what looks differently? What do I like? What would I have liked? You know what I mean? And well, that shouldn't have happened that way it did. And you can kind of look back on it now and say, well, you little Chris, that shouldn't have happened. And you know that, right? Yeah, you do because I'm you.
Okay. What is it that you got from that? How did that actually start helping you from this idea of here's this moment in time that you just shared in your past? There is you recalling that moment now as an older person looking back. And then there is you looking at that moment and trying to reprocess it through this new lens.
It was, I guess, looking at something more in a positive way. Like, you're not going to change the experiences you've had. You've already had them. So it's one of those things that even if you can't redo it, you can look at it from the outside, so to speak. If you're looking back on something, you think to yourself, like 20 minutes later, I could have done this differently. I could have done that differently, you know? But going through that kind of process of dealing with your emotions again, you're kind of, these are the emotions I felt during that time. And let's kind of explore that.
So you're trying to be the objective observer of a moment that happened once in the past.
Yes. Of your own emotions.
Of course, of your own experience.
Yes.
But I think that to me, that is your own therapy. That is what all of us should be doing consistently.
Well, yeah.
For every moment in our lives that have happened that we call traumatic, which was really just we experienced something that we didn't know how to process.
Right.
How is it that, so to have more context of all this, you listened to one of the podcasts about emotions, you felt like you connected with it and you're like, man, I'd love to come on and share. So share a little bit of what did your early life look like so that we can understand, like, what have you done today? And so we can understand the perspective. So what did little Chris look like?
He was pretty socially awkward. And that was all throughout like school years, right? All the way up to like graduated high school. I was pretty socially awkward.
What does that mean to you though? Describe socially awkward.
To me, socially awkward is not really understanding other people's emotions or not really understanding how to communicate effectively with people. And for instance, if I would have felt uncomfortable approaching you to do this or to be a friend with you, right? And I even see that in my children these days a bit. So I try and mitigate that. But like just going up to people and talking to them, you're always told don't talk to strangers, right? So, you're kind of scared of talking to strangers, but then it turns into, well, why should you be afraid of talking to people in general, right? Being able to communicate effectively, it's something I think everybody should kind of learn how to do, because otherwise you kind of off to the sides. You don't get to be involved. Kind of at some point in my life, I felt like I'd rather be part of the show than watching it.
Okay. So socially awkward meant you were taught this or you just were this way? I think you think of it more of you just were this way.
So, a bit of backstory. My mom would try and say, hey, make sure you make eye contact with people. Make sure you talk to people. And I had a hard time doing that. I think it was, I was uncomfortable, I wasn't as uncomfortable in my skin, kind of, so to speak.
Yeah.
My father, he was completely extroverted, knew how to talk to everybody, but didn't really pass that along. This is how you do it. Don't be afraid to talk to people. And I mean, growing up, there were always people around, always adults. So as far as kids go, I was probably one of the older ones, hanging out with a bunch of little kids, and don't really know where you fit in. Don't really know how to talk to the older ones.
You were the older one hanging out with younger ones?
Yeah. Basically, all his friends had like younger kids and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of in the middle. I didn't really know how to talk to the adults, didn't really know how to talk to the kids, but eventually you kind of get better at talking to the adults than the kids. So that was why whenever I would go to stuff like school, I would have a harder time talking to people my age. I didn't really know what the kind of things that they were into. So it made it harder for me to relate to them.
What did you see as being difficult?
I guess being into the things that they were. They were kids, basically either I don't know, maybe drinking when they weren't supposed to, going out, having basically interacting with other people. I was none of that. Like, I liked being at home. Unfortunately, that's kind of how my older son is right now too.
Did you like being at home, or is that something that you just did because that's what made you comfortable?
I liked it, but it would have been nice to know how to make friends easy. Everybody kind of wants to know, how other people go and talk to people, right? How are those two people talking? Well, how do I go talk to those people? But how do your interactions with other people you already have dictate how you can go and do that? So, for instance, if you're going to, let's say, out and about, have drinks, right? You're going to go and sit at a bar or whatever, have a drink, and you might talk to somebody, say, hi, how are you? I might approach that differently, right? Now that I feel comfortable enough in my skin to say, there's nothing wrong with me. I can go talk to somebody, right? But when you have, I guess I had somewhat self-esteem issues when I was a kid too. So that didn't really help.
Did you ever talk to your parents about that?
Not really. Like, I was really random when I was a kid. I would say things, and sometimes it comes out now. I'm sure you understand me more than that. But I'll say things, and I was very sarcastic. That was that was definitely a front.
Of course.
Sarcasm.
Of course.
Yeah. Aside from being sarcastic and thinking that was, I was being the smarter one in the room, it was now I'm trying to speak in more of a genuine way, right?
What did you, what was the way that I see that or perceive it for myself? We always create this like cutout of ourselves.
Yes.
And we hold that in front when we're younger, because like it's like interface with that thing that I'm creating, not with me. So you have like this cutout of Chris, if you can imagine this cutout, this picture. And then somebody comes up to you and you turn around and you hold the cutout to them.
Yes.
And then you like play the part. And you're like, hey, so what did you feel sarcasm did for you?
I would hide behind humor.
Got it.
I think that was pretty reasonable to say. Yeah. I'd hide behind humor. Yeah.
So that was your cutout. That was the thing that made you feel safe to the world, is like here, interact with the sarcastic Chris because he knows how to handle you.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, I don't know how to do that.
Right. That's exactly what I would do. So after I started discovering myself and got a little older and through life and more experience, that kind of went away.
But remember,
funny for everybody.
I need you to share what that looks like, because right now you're being like your parents.
Okay.
So be that thing. Hold on. Be that thing, but you're not expressing the actual work, the time, the introspection that it took for you to get there. So to make this easier, talk to me and describe little Chris to me.
I can do that. Okay.
Like paint a picture for me. I need to know where Chris was and what did Chris have as his experience at that time of why he was who he is that you're about to describe.
Yeah. So let's kind of fast forward to middle school or high school. That'll probably be easiest. Middle school and high school didn't have a whole lot of friends. Had some, right? And like most kids, didn't really, I wouldn't say excel in class, but I understood the material. So I hated homework, wouldn't do the homework, got some bad grades, but I tested well. So I knew that what was going on, didn't care. I didn't necessarily know how to make more friends. So making friends was a social chore to me. Like, it was fear-induced mostly.
Right.
Girls, I was not a ladies' man by any means.
Shocker.
Yeah, right. Thanks, appreciate that. No, I think it boiled down to confidence. I wasn't confident. And I didn't know how to be confident.
Which goes back to your self-esteem issue.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, skinny Chris at like 130 didn't really know how to talk to people, or didn't know how to, maneuver his way through life at all. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I was very uncomfortable with, what was going on around me as far as like day to day. Just wanted to get out of school, get home, and get to the next day.
What drove that though?
Something
had to drive that incessive fear of like connection. What was it?
I had no motivation, I guess to say. I wasn't motivated. I mean, nothing was fun to me. I mean,
but something else drove it. Let's explore.
Yeah.
What was the fear now? Because now you're looking back.
Yeah.
What was the fear that little Chris had that he carried?
Rejection.
From anyone?
Socially.
But rejection from anyone? Or did you feel rejection from somebody and that's what you were like, well, I get it here, so I have to assume everybody else will do that too?
Socially in school, probably more than anything. Oh, good example of this. I was in high school, right? Cooking class. Teacher divvied us up into groups. Said, you guys are going to go to this section over here, you guys in this section, you guys in this section. There was one group of seniors. I think I was like a sophomore at the time. So they were a couple years older than me. I was perceived as socially awkward, at least by me. And then they're like, yeah, you're not part of our group. I was like, well, that wasn't very kind, And then another person that probably saw that said, you can be part of our group. And I was like, that's when I lashed out. I said, why would I want to be part of your group? And that was probably because I felt rejected.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hurting and transferring that onto something else.
Of course, that was your MO, right?
Yeah.
For little Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here's this rejection that you experience. You now have this way of dealing with that, which really was all emotions, not just the rejection emotion, but like everything you process and then you just kind of punt it on to somebody else.
Right.
Where was that just something that continued through your young adult life of this idea of rejection because you experienced it then? Or did you have more scenarios of this?
There were a few. I'm sure there were others, right? But that one stands out.
Okay.
Definitely, because it's very easy to identify people saying no to you whenever they're not in control of the situation. Not supposed to be.
So that's a trauma for you, meaning an unhealed wound.
I think it's healed. I mean, I think
remember
at that time.
Correct.
Sorry, at that time, yes, correct. Yeah. You're correct.
So then this opens a wound for you. It's unhealed, and now you're like, man, this hurts.
Yes.
So I would probably do anything to avoid that myself.
Avoidance is key at that point. And then so being able to communicate with other people, like say, hey, this happened to me. Not something I was okay with, I kind of closed off.
So that's not normal. Normal, remember.
Normal, correct.
Normal for a healed person. But for you, your normal was what? You just have nobody to go to talk about this? To process it?
No, I was always the kind of kid that didn't want to make anyone else worry. I would try and handle it myself. If I had bad grades in school, I would cover it up. I would hide the fact that I was getting bad grades to any capacity I could.
Where did that come from? This idea of like, you got to deal with it yourself.
I guess I was always I cared about other people's feelings because I felt mine were being disregarded.
Got it. Okay, that's important.
Yes. So when my feelings were being disregarded, I would extrovertly try and protect other people's feelings.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes sense now, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So this is young Chris.
Yes.
What is going into young adult Chris now? How do these manifest now into a young teen? What does that look like?
So I would get out of high school and I I started going to community college. Wasn't really attending. Wasn't something I wanted to do. I'd rather go hang out with friends. Probably should have taken a year off, to be honest.
From high school to college? Yeah.
Because I had no motivation to go. And by that point, it was, well, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. And I'm covering things up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go and do what I want to do. And I'm just going to not tell anybody. So I signed up for like 3 or 4 classes at community college, right? Which, getting into that, I ended up having to go pay my way through that because my old man was more well, I'm not going to pay it for you, but I got you a short-term job to do it. Oh, okay, I guess, right? So then it was, well, I paid for this. I don't really want to go, so I'm not going to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I found a group of friends I was hanging out with at the time. Ended up just going hang out with them mostly. Just nothing else going on. Hanging out with friends, working.
What was different about these friends? Why did you hang out with them?
Similar interests. They seemed similar to me as far as being socially awkward goes. I saw bits of myself in them.
There you go.
And that's usually the kind of people you surround yourself with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the people that they're not going to offer resistance. They're within the same flow. You're like, oh yeah, this is my
normal.
tribe. Yeah, I got to be with them.
Yeah. So
okay.
Basically, a lot of time in arcades over at casinos since we live in Vegas. That was pretty normal. There's nothing. What else do you do between the ages of 18 to 21, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we would just go to arcades a lot of the time, hang out there. Eventually, I got a job at one of the arcades. Might as well get paid to hang out with your friends. So ended up getting a job there, moved to another one, ended up having some more friends that were very similar in that kind of regard.
What did you start noticing about those friends? And just the circle that you were basically in. What did you start noticing was very common in that circle?
So as we went through, I would see that they didn't handle rejection well either.
Got it.
That was a common theme. So, and the ones that did handle rejection well weren't friends for too long. So they would, and
it's a great observation, by the way.
Yeah. Right. So whenever you go through it and you start to just watch other people, you start to notice, holy cow, people are almost trauma dependent on the way that they're acting. There was one person I hung out with. I remember this clearly. He got rejected by some girls he liked. And he saw them a couple years later. And then they told him, they're like, hey, you remember us? I'm like, yeah, I remember you guys. You guys seem pretty normal. And he's like, no, I don't remember you guys. I was like, why not?
That was his response.
Yes.
Got it.
So I noticed that difference. But I wasn't, quote unquote, rejected by them, right?
But
he had received rejection from them because he was interested in them.
So who just had the same experience as that when he was a kid?
Right. So I asked him, I was like, you recognize them, didn't you? It's like, yeah, I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of that.
Isn't that crazy to see that as long as we can experience a moment where we don't have the emotion through somebody else, that's a moment where we can finally start looking at something introspectively and be like, wait, why'd that happen? Because you just shared your moment about being rejected from the group. And what was your response? Why would I be going to part of your group?
Yes.
Do you see the behavior? It's the same.
Yeah. And it wasn't like a one-time thing.
Right.
This person, you'd see it repeating. And that was an interesting thing to me. I was like, okay, is that kind of what's going on with me a bit? So that made me.
How old are you right now?
37.
No.
Oh,
in
at the time.
story, yeah.
Sorry, direct question. I was, I think, 18.
Wow, okay. So here we go. Like, the lid's starting to pop. You're like, okay, what am I noticing?
This is not okay.
Yeah. Keep going with your story. So what did you get out of that?
So I remember asking him, well, what's going on? Why did you say that? He said, because like they They rejected me because I had excess body hair. I remember that.
Okay. That was the
And-
reason he thought.
Well, yeah, supposedly they hit his self-esteem whenever they said, you know, do you have excess body hair? Yes. And they're like, ew. So he didn't want to give him the satisfaction of being remembered of all things. And I'm like, well, and he ended up changing his behavior as a result. So I was like,
In which way, though? Changing it in which way?
he started shaving all his excess body hair.
Got it. Okay.
So it's kind of like those moments that define us, like what we do now kind of thing. So I was like, well, why are you changing what you're doing because of something somebody else said? So I was starting to explore of why, if he's changing things, does that mean I've changed things about myself?
And changing to, not in the terms of growth, but changing to, I don't know how to say it, but like to comply with the thing that somebody pointed out.
Yes.
So like when somebody calls me fat and then all of a sudden I'm like, man, I got to get to the gym.
Yes.
It's like, it wasn't internal seeking my health. It was because I'm going to show that girl one day that like, I got my shit together.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And this person, again, he would try and work out because of that kind of thing. A lot of his motives were a result of somebody else's input. Other than,
At least that's what you noticed, what you could perceive. You're
That's
like,
what I
wow,
thought,
there's a
yes.
lot of things that I noticed that he shared where I see direct correlations from his behavior to these traumatic moments he experienced.
yes. So move on to about age 19 at this point, right? I had a girlfriend. She, she had her own life and issues, the things that she was dealing with, not necessarily even mentally, but just portions of her life.
Right.
We'll dive right back
Right.
to that. And my experience with my friends was getting less because I wanted to spend time with her. And I was okay with that, but they weren't okay with that.
Well, it's change.
Right.
It's changing your behavior, right?
So they, at least one of them, I guess, started to possibly sabotage me in my relationship.
What do you mean possible? What does that mean?
Well, I want to believe what was told to me, right? But I'm not the one that received this information. So she moves away and I'm being told, you never know what she's doing right now, right? You never know that if she's out with some other guy or, if she's, you don't know what she's doing. This is,
Right. So he's trying to instill doubt.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea how to handle this. I mean, I'm 19. What do I know at this point, right? So
Right. You're not familiar with, I'm not speaking for you, but
Yeah.
the idea is like you're not familiar with like forms of manipulation. You just think, well, it's my friend. He's trying to be my friend and he's telling me these things.
Well, it's more you would think he's trying to be my friend.
Well, right, because that's what we think as younger people. We think everybody's always on the up and up. Of course, another 19-year-old would be so smart and understand the world and try to guide me.
Not necessarily. I think that I always ran into the impression that everyone's a liar.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah,
Back up.
yeah.
So that's not, I'm going to stop using normal because normal is a bad word, but you and your perception of things were everybody lies.
Yes.
So my friend is a liar. My girlfriend is a liar. Everybody's a liar.
Yeah. Don't trust anyone.
Got it. Okay. We'll explore where that comes from.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So I'm under the impression that I should only be looking inward for trust. I shouldn't trust anyone else because they'll probably let you down.
Okay.
And being told something by somebody else and already having that mindset, it's like, well, then you become insecure. This person is probably going to do something, even though.
It's like a pessimist.
Yeah.
You were a pessimist.
Oh, I was definitely a pessimist.
Yeah.
I mean, walking to school, even in middle school, I was told, hey, You need to stop looking at the ground when you're walking, just head hanging. So
Who told you that?
my mom,
For what?
because I was always just looking at the ground and always find the
Right.
worst in every situation.
Right.
And I think it was more so maybe it had something to do with puberty and hormones. I don't know. You know, but when you go through
Maybe.
puberty,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. I'm experiencing that with my son now. So,
Mm-hmm.
but back then you have no idea what's happening. You just everything's kind of depressing.
I mean, maybe you don't know what's going on with your son now, but this is kind of what
Back
we'll
then.
get into later. Is here's an awesome opportunity for you to ask,
Mhm.
because you're just asking what his perspective is in
Right.
the world at that moment. Because hence you're telling us about young Chris. You're experiencing these moments in your life all over again as you talk about them, always with this new narrative running in the background. You have this completely different view of life, but you're looking back and you're like,
Yes.
I see these things. Oh, I know how to call that out. So to not go deeper into that, we'll go into that a little bit, but go back to your story. So you hold your head down. You notice this now as a behavior,
Well,
right?
You remember, everything I think is happening is normal.
But it is.
Well, when I say that, I mean,
For you, that was normal.
if I'm lying, I'm thinking everybody else is lying.
Yeah.
So, yes, that was normal to me.
Yeah. So why wouldn't she lie? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't he lie?
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
Why isn't anybody lying to me? Why? Who else isn't self-motivated?
Right, correct. The pessimist in you is like,
Yeah.
I'll beat you before you beat me.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally get it.
So, I mean, that's really where it was at, you know? I didn't have as much self-confidence.
But how did that affect your friendship versus your relationship? Because that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, I had this friendship until she moved back, in which case I picked a really bad time to end that friendship. Well, I should have ended it sooner. I basically didn't talk to this guy after his dad hung himself.
Okay, so he goes through a really bad moment and you were just like,
Yeah.
good time to disappear.
Well, he didn't feel comfortable talking about it with anyone, so he told me, and I put my girlfriend off to the side, and I shouldn't have.
You put your girlfriend to the side, or what did you say?
Yeah. Basically,
He shared that information with you.
yeah, and I put my what I needed to do at the time was either be able to be a friend or not, right?
But that's not what you knew at that time.
Right.
So what did Chris at that time do?
He backed away
From?
and focused on and went to my relationship.
Got it. So here's this moment, which is, I don't know how old were you? 19?
19.
Yeah, I don't know how to help a 19-year-old with that type of information. Me personally, like, I don't know at 19. I don't know what I could have done any better than you. But
Right.
you say, great, that's something that is, I don't know how to handle. So I'll just delete that one
Yeah.
and go over here and, focus on where I do get some dopamine. There's this great girl, this relationship, I'll focus on that.
Exactly.
Got it.
And completely, terrible friend. But,
Now, that's how you perceive it. Because at the time, you didn't think you were a terrible friend, did you? I'm assuming you justified your way of why it just didn't make sense to be his friend.
No, I did it knowing I was going to be a bad friend.
Wow. Okay. So why did you do that, knowing that at that time?
At that time, I did it because I didn't like myself when I was around him.
Mm. So then you said, oh, I know how to fix this. If I'm not around him, then I'm not going to be
Right.
this whatever traits you were showing.
Correct.
Got it. But I mean, you justified why not to talk to him. See how
Yeah.
that works?
See what I mean? Yes. I think we both were partially right on that. Okay.
Yeah. So here you are. You say, great, I can't manage this friendship, so I'll just
Mhm.
end it. And then I'll just take my energy and focus on my relationship.
Yes.
Why is that something that comes to mind as like a moment in time?
Because I think that relationships are tough, and I think they've always have been for me. So at that time, me making a conscious decision was kind of one of those things you remember, You remember whenever you consciously make a decision that you think might impact somebody else poorly. If you think it's a bad decision.
But who did you make the decision for? You?
Me.
For your relationship or for your friendship?
Me
Which
and
one?
my relationship.
Okay.
Like,
And who do you think it was going to impact poorly? Your friend?
yes.
Okay.
Incredibly poorly.
Right.
I mean, it was probably like the day I found out that happened to him that
You just stopped talking to him.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So you just stopped responding.
Mhm.
Yeah.
At least right around that time. Yeah. So then it just weren't friends anymore. And it occurred to me, this is how fast a friendship can drop or any sort of relationship.
At the time.
And then we move on to, the next year, right? I think I'm turning 21 around the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go buy a house, right? I mean, 21 buying a house, that's pretty young.
That's crazy young.
Yeah.
I didn't buy my first house. I was 40. So yeah, good kudos.
Well, I talked to my parents. I said, hey, I want to marry this girl, right? And then I was told, my father's response was, after school, right? And I was like, yeah,
Because you were still going to school this whole time?
No, I had stopped.
You weren't in college?
No.
Did he know this?
I think, I had put aside the classes. I think I failed 3 classes out of 4 I was taking.
Yeah, but his understanding of you was you were actively going to school.
No,
this time.
I think I kept telling him I was going to go back.
Got it. Okay.
But whenever I had a long distance relationship for a year and a half, and I fell into depression.
With the same person?
Yeah.
Okay.
I fell into depression. I wasn't taking care of myself as I should have been. My hair, you see where my hair is now, right? My hair grew down to my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't keeping up with friendships, wasn't doing anything.
What do you attest, or what do you think the depression came from? Just being away from them?
Yes. I think it came from, if I was enough, this person would be here.
Ah, so you personalized the reason why
Yes.
she had to go. Okay.
100%.
Got it.
And then, and out of time frame, this happened before, dropping that other friend. And she came back, and then this, for time's sake.
Yeah.
So after that, we were going to get our own house. That was the deal. I was back to working, started taking care of myself better. And then...
Wait, hold on. So she moved away because she had to move away, not like she moved away because you had a long distance relationship. So you guys were still in a relationship.
Yeah.
Air quotes, right?
It started at 18, 19 and a half. She came back. She was going to school in Mexico. I went down there too to visit her twice. And maybe it was 2.5 years. Holy cow. Yeah. It's 2.5 years. But just think about it. I mean, how hard is a relationship? A long distance relationship at that, right?
Well, I mean, all relationships are hard, but a long distance relationship, it's even more difficult because there's no time.
Yeah. And this is back when calling cards were a thing, right? Calling cards were the thing in order to contact people.
It was to get a more discounted rate for long distance calls.
Well, not just that. They were just introducing, was it voice over IP? So...
Right. No, but I mean, you could call international at the time.
Yes.
This wasn't 1920 where you had to send a telegram.
Right.
It was just calling cards were the much more cost-effective way to be able to talk to somebody for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
And during that time, I remember I wasn't able to communicate with her at one point. And remember I told you I was in the process of lying, asking for forgiveness and permission kind of thing.
From who?
Almost anyone.
Forgiveness and permission. That was just at that
Forgiveness,
time.
then permission, right?
Yeah.
So I went to my mom's house and I called her and I ran up a really large bill on her phone bill. And I feel bad about it now even because that wasn't fair to her. And then we stopped talking for a while.
You and your mom? Because of it?
Yeah.
Why?
Over the course of my life, my parents got divorced. She's lived on her own, and she's kind of had to build herself up. as far as like career wise. And,
Wait, so in this process, your parents split?
my parents split when I was like 6.
Oh, okay. So it was a dual household then.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
So
Didn't know.
whenever time, like from elementary school all through, she's trying to, provide for us, be a single mother, work through a career,
Oh, and you live with your mom.
and back and forth.
So that was your primary, or
I was back and forth there.
Got
Every
it.
night I was with my mom. Every day I was with my dad.
oof, that is rough.
Yeah. After
Yeah.
school, go to dad, then picked up with mom. Just
Yeah.
repeat.
Yeah.
Alternate weekends. And then whenever I started driving, that kind of changed too because I could do what I wanted. I sleep at whoever's house I wanted, right?
Right.
So I chose the one that gave me the most freedom, my dad.
And why did you have the most freedom with your dad?
He didn't care.
Okay. There you go.
He didn't care.
So
Basically,
that was your perception, is he didn't care.
well, yes, he prioritized school, and he said, "Hey, school's important," which is pretty typical of most of my family to believe.
Okay.
Even though school isn't for everyone. The worst punishment I got whenever my grades were bad was, "I'm disappointed in you." And as somebody who wasn't interested in somebody else's opinion at the time, that didn't matter. I wasn't going to try harder for that. I would have tried harder if I wanted to.
Okay.
So I had more freedom. I would get up. Sometimes if I didn't want to go to school that day, I wouldn't have gone to school. But I had a little bit more socializing there, so I would go. And, how's this going to get back to my mom, right?
And what was your mom's priority?
Making sure I did what I needed to do.
Which meant what?
School, trying to help me be self-sufficient on my own as I grew up.
So like a job, like financially meaning, or?
Yeah, she wanted me to go to school and be working, right?
Mhm.
She wanted me to experience the world in a way that could help me grow from it.
Okay.
And my father probably just didn't care. Like his idea was, hey, I got this going on. I'm doing this downtown. I spent like my weekends at Fremont Street when I was in high school.
Oh, wow. Just like hanging out.
Well, he would like take pictures at some of the hotels for like class unions and stuff. And I would be walking by myself at age like 18 across the entirety of Fremont Street to go get these pictures developed.
That's for everybody listening in Vegas. Fremont Street is just a public street where it's built where people could walk around. There's a lot of casinos. So you basically would just, as a comparison, anybody in California, it would be like Venice. You just walk around this public area and there's just a lot of people that congregate there.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of people drinking, a lot of partying.
Right.
And then you go off of Fremont Street and it's not a good area. As an adult. Now, as a teenager.
It's not a good area. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of crime, a lot of homeless,
Yes.
a lot of just it's a seedy part of town.
Right. It's not an area you want to wander into.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I was doing it at age like 18, 19.
Why? Was it the friends that you're hanging out with? Or was it just because, unfortunately for people that grew up in Vegas, there's not a lot of public things you could do besides a park?
No, he was utilizing me to help him in his business endeavors.
So you were there helping your father
Yes.
work?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, so that's why you spent the weekends there. I thought you were just on your own with friends. Okay.
Well, no, I mean, I would go with him. I wouldn't spend weekends with friends because at that time, my friends were off doing their thing.
Right.
Either that or was, my girlfriend at the time was
Gone,
or
yeah.
I didn't have her, or one of those things,
What is it so with that time, I mean, that's a lot of air quotes time that you actually got to spend with your father. What did you get out of any of that time with him? Did he make investment? Was it just more do your thing?
His lifestyle was make as much money while I can and then ride it out till that comes around next year. Basically,
It was like seasonal work?
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
It was
Okay,
like work as little as possible. That's how I perceived it. So he would work as little as possible to maintain the lifestyle that he wanted.
Yeah.
And, growing up, you're like, he's getting by. That's cool. Right.
Right.
And as you get older, you're like, and as you're passing that point of
The
being a
same
teenager.
age. Yeah.
Well, teenager,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, I want more. I want to do more. I want to be able to do the things I want to do.
But that was what you saw from it. That's what you took from it. It's like, hey, I don't want that. I want more out of life.
Yes, but let's say from a young perspective, you're like, man, this person doesn't really have to work, and they're getting by. That's cool, right? You get older and you realize getting by isn't enough.
Yeah. For you.
Right.
Because remember, I know some people that love that idea.
Right.
Temp workers are like, I just want to work enough to afford my bills and then have time to do whatever else they want to do with that time.
Right. And it was a me thing. It's not enough for me.
Right.
I want more out of this world. And I mean, even then I didn't have motivation to do it. That was the problem. I didn't have any motivation or direction. So in that time frame of which you're seeing this stuff and it's time.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean you didn't have motivation? To me, that sounds like motivation. You're like, I want more. That's the motivation. It's not to end up in the same place is the motivation.
Well, this all came about the same time as I was asking my girlfriend to marry me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is about the time I got into a big fight
With
my father.
Got it.
I had patched things up with my mom. She helped me get a job.
Mm-hmm.
And she helped me get together what I needed to buy a house.
So your mom helped you financially.
She co-signed on it.
I mean, that's still a help financially. That's huge.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things of I understood the amount of responsibility going into this. It is a house. She probably could not afford to take care of that if I did not.
Right.
So she's putting a lot of trust in me.
Yep.
And that was definitely a growth moment for me.
Do you feel like that was also a supportive moment where you finally felt some support from your mom? I mean, obviously your mom was supporting you, but I have to imagine that you do feel, wow,
I think
she's supporting me big time right
everything, she did her best.
Yeah.
She was doing everything that she thought would have helped me grow and be able to experience life without as much trial, without as much difficulty.
now. Right. Mm-hmm.
So whenever she saw that I was kind of getting my act together, that's when she was more willing to help in that way, so to speak.
Yeah, put herself in line with you to be successful. Got it. So what motivated the marriage? Was there an actual motivator to it?
So, yeah, I fell in love. that was hard. It was falling in love isn't what everyone thinks it is. It's emotional, right?
Correct.
And it's great. And but it turns into there's a large sense of responsibility that comes with that. And you want to take care of the person that you love. So.
At least you do.
For me.
Yep.
Yes. And I will speak to me.
Yes.
Okay. So I asked her to marry me. I had no intention of finishing college. But again, forgive misinformation, we were always taught after our father got divorced that marriage is, I would say bad, but it is, coming from a conspiracy theorist household, it ties you to the government.
Got it. Right.
Okay. So, yes, it was a conspiracy thing, I think, or, the less ties you have to the government, the better, or the less oversight you have, the better. And that's your opinion,
What did you get? What did you hope to get out of marriage at the time?
Permanence.
For her to stay?
Yeah.
For her to not to have to go back to college because now she's
in general,
engaged.
Permanence. I just wanted to feel like it was gonna last forever. That
It's quite the Disney story.
Yeah, right.
Or the Disney motivator of, wow, I could get married and this gives me this outcome, right? Which I'm assuming is what you were seeking.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so you do that.
Yes.
What happened with your pops?
I did it and I didn't tell him.
Got it. Is that what you guys fought over?
No.
Okay.
Well, his side probably of things, not mine.
No, fair. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
So here you are, you get married to this person that you're in love with. I'm
My
assuming
mom-
very, you're very happy at the time. You're just like, man, I can't believe all this is happening. This is great.
Yeah.
Like, here we
My
are
mom
together.
witnessed it.
Right.
She was there, signed it for me.
But you never invited your dad.
No, because I thought that he was going to try and talk me out of it, or
Take away from
disappointed.
your moment.
Yes.
Let's just put it that way. Take away from your moment, however that might be.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
not just my moment, hers.
Fair, but again, it's you speaking.
Right.
So you're saying, great, I know how to mitigate this. I just don't invite him.
Right.
Okay.
And
So he finds out?
because I told him. Well, we told him on the day we were moving out, actually. Gotta love my
Wait,
wife.
so you were living with him?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought you were living with your mom.
No, we were.
I'm so confused.
After high school, it was easier to go live with him because I could do what I wanted.
That's right. You did say that. Okay.
And then, my mom was helping me get the stuff together to get into the house. All this
Mhm.
time, there's tension building.
From you and your dad.
Yes.
Okay.
And
What was the tension over? Just seeing things different?
He was asking for money from me at the time.
So kind of like, so he was paying for you?
He would come to me with a bill, and I'll never forget this. He came to me with a bill and said, "Hey, I need to borrow some money." And I said, "Okay." And then it was, some large bill that hadn't been paid or something. And I was like, I was trying to save money to move out.
Right.
And at that point, I had the feeling like he was trying to sabotage me. Remember, I'm under the impression everyone's a liar.
Right, right.
So I feel like he's trying to sabotage this. And I said, I don't have the money. His response was, well, you need to come up with the money for his bills in his house. So.
Did you pay rent or did you help financially in any way?
No. And I was never approached about that. It was just hey, I need money kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which.
So there was no conversation like, hey, you know what? How old are you at the time? 21?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you got a job. You got to start paying your own way just to kind of help.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just blink of an eye. Hey, I need money and we need it now. Or you need it now. More things.
Right.
So I go.
Do you feel that's kind of the needle that broke the camel's back? You had a little bit of money saved up. Somehow this magical bill comes out of nowhere. How
No.
perfectly timed? No. Okay.
That didn't break the camel's back.
Okay.
I was a liar. And regardless of how good I was at it, I don't know. But, told him I didn't have it. Never came up with that money, gave him part of it. And I was trying to save up money so that we had something to live on when we got into our house.
Right.
My mom at this point was helping us buy like dishes and things like that for our house.
Right.
Everything, all the things you need to start a house. So, I'm trying to be responsible for this. And I can't remember if it was before or after I got married, but I was on my way home or I was at work and I received a phone call. And it was my brother, my younger brother, who's in the house with my father.
Both brothers live with you, by the way?
No, my older brother lives out of state.
Got it. Until there was just you and your younger
And
brother.
yeah, his mom got full custody.
Got
of him. So he would fly in during the summer and things like that.
Okay.
My younger brother, he was like 4 years younger than me at the time. I think he's like, 16, 17? Yeah, probably about 15, 16. He calls me, but he doesn't say anything. And I just hear arguing in the background. It's my girlfriend, fiance, right? It's her. It's my
Wait,
father.
your brother?
He called me.
Oh, got it.
And I just hear
'cause he lives
background
with you.
noise.
Yep.
I hear background noise going on and they're arguing, right? And then I hear, catch this moment, okay? I hear my father say, he's not good enough for you.
You overhear, as you're speaking to your brother, this is what he's saying in the
I
background.
overhear my father
Saying that on the
my
phone.
girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not good enough for her. And the things that does to you is very difficult in that moment.
Well, I
Because-
can imagine already being strained, and then you hear the one person you would hope to champion you that
You're right.
doesn't.
Well, hard moment. Okay.
I get it.
And I'm going to kind of get into the feelings here for this.
It's okay.
So, yes. But the things that run through your head are, you start to try and justify it.
Why?
Yeah, the why.
He might be right.
No, why did he say this?
Got it.
My thought process is he's trying to tell her he needs to go back to school. And then, well, why did he say that? I mean, was it a fight? He's trying to get to her. What are all these things? He's trying to chase her away. And then it turns into that's the straw that broke the camel's back. It doesn't matter. That is what got hard. So then we ended up moving out. And the day we went to move out of that house, I remember she told him, she's like, "Oh, by the way, your son and I got married last week." And I was like, I was like, yeah, that was a pretty good one. Not really like, it was okay. That she said that.
Why does that moment still affect you today?
Probably because I'm looking at it from how I was back then, not the way I am now.
Okay. But why does it still affect you?
Because even looking back on it now, saying those things is not okay.
But you
hasn't
know
changed.
that. But why do you still carry it today? There's a difference. There's the difference of understanding. Your dad could have been better. Right? You're an older person.
Yeah.
You can understand that he maybe tried. But why do you still carry that weight today?
Because I'm trying not to recreate that.
I hear you, brother. But hear what I'm saying. But why do you carry it?
Because I can't change it.
I know that. You don't have to carry that. You don't. That can't be the thing that motivates you. As like afraid to repeat that. You don't have to repeat that. It doesn't even have to be part of your life anymore. So why carry it?
Because it reminds me to do better. And it's a growth opportunity. I'm growing from that.
I hear you, but you don't need to carry that emotional weight. Carry the learning, just like everything else you've done already, of looking back and saying, wow, I could have done that better. Like, okay, I understand what better looks like now because I have this moment to reference.
Yeah.
But you don't have to carry these deep emotional debts for somebody that to be fair, because he's not here.
Right.
He did what he thought was best.
Right. That was...
We don't know. I can't make sense of it, but I'm just saying, like, that's what at least we for another human being should do. It's like, hey, he did what he thought was best at the time.
Right.
Right. And you could just keep it that way and say, look, that was his judgment. Don't necessarily agree with him, but I get it. He just tried to do the best he could. But this weight that you carry, you can't. That can't be your motivator. That can't be the fuel that you use to be like, I'll never be that. Like, stop. That's so toxic.
Well, I'll give you further example as we move through. Okay.
Yeah.
I can remember what it felt like then.
Sure.
But today, Chris doesn't look at it like that. Even though I can remember that. As we progressed in life, I got into my house, and was working hard for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how we survived on that little of money, but my wife at the time did a great job. She was responsible for all of it because I'm probably terrible with money. I'm
right.
a child with an adult bank account. you know? So,
So she paid the bills. She made sure everything got
mm,
squared away. Obviously,
yep.
did she work at the time?
No, we had our firstborn.
Oh, geez, and you had a kid at the time. Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay,
I was
so
23.
so she managed the house basically. So she took the income and she made sure that everything got paid.
Everything
And,
properly. Great job to her.
Yeah.
Kudos to this day. But we ended up moving away from Vegas.
Why?
My mom moved away, and we kind of wanted to be around family. And we heard the economy was going bad at the time.
What year is this?
2013.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So we heard the economy's more stable over in Texas. So I moved to Texas.
You still had this house by the time? Okay.
And what was it? We got a tax credit, right? That required us to be in the house for 3 years. And at the third year.
In Texas or here?
Here.
Uh-huh.
First time home buyer credit. We moved out the day after that was the rule.
To comply with.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
To not to pay it back to the day. And we ended up moving to Texas. Moved in with my mom. And I ended up getting a job over there.
So you didn't move for the job. You moved because your mom was moving away.
Yeah.
Got it.
She moved away a couple years prior. Or at least a year. But a little fuzzy. It's been 15 years. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she moves away. We go to Texas. And, my son, about 1, right? He, me, my mom, my wife, and my son are all living in this little 2-bedroom apartment. I ended up looking for jobs all over Texas, all over Houston. And then the company she was working at, I was asked, hey, you used to work at a car dealership detailing cars, right? Yeah. Hey, how about I pay you to wash my car? I was like, yeah, okay, I can wash your car. Then I get back.
Who's this?
My mom's boss, the division manager.
Got it. Okay.
I didn't really know him. Met him a couple times. Super nice guy for the time. And I was like, look, I'll wash this car, but I don't feel comfortable taking this person's money. Like, they're too close to family or friends, right? And then I go there and he's like, I don't want to hear any of this about not taking my money, right? And I was like, well, that was new, that kind of experience. You remember something like that.
Yeah.
Because, it's like they're looking out for you regardless. They're saying they see worth in you. You might not see yourself. Kind of thing. So I got hired by him. He said, hey, I have a job.
So he owned the dealership?
No, he owned a oil and gas company or
Got
part
it.
of it.
And so it was just his personal car?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So he goes and he's like, well, we're looking for this kind of person for this job. And he showed it to me. He's like, you interested? And I was like, yeah. I had felt bad at that moment for I didn't want to be known as somebody who took a job because he got it from his relative or mom. And that was a very bad way to look at the world at the time, looking back on it.
Yeah, looking back, yeah.
I wanted to be able to stand on my own 2 feet on my own merit. That was the whole thing. Well, so he shows me what the job responsibilities were, etc. And I'm like, I am not much of this. It's like, well, you will be. So this is probably one of the first times that I had somebody taking a real chance on me. And I was like, okay, that's a lot of pressure, but
yeah,
so I got hired in by this guy, and he took me to eat with him. He treated me to lunch, and he gave me my first lesson in project management on a napkin. I still have this napkin to this day.
That's cool.
Yeah. So he gave me this lesson in project management, and it was all Greek to me. It was foreign. I had no idea what I was looking at. And then, so I started traveling for work. I traveled, South Texas, Oklahoma, North Dakota,
Lonely places.
Yeah. by myself.
Yeah.
Family started staying home, but I started learning a lot. And then I'd come back, and I have a real appreciation for this guy. He was an older fellow, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for him.
Right.
And
is this like maybe one of the first mentors you had in your life? Would you consider?
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he called me today, I'd go and help him with something.
Yeah.
Like I'd be on the plane tonight
Mm-hmm.
because that's the kind of loyalty I have for this person. And then that type of mentorship, you learn that that's what you want to be like to somebody else one day.
Do you think maybe that's just your first time that you ever saw somebody see the value in you?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think
it
that
seems
was
like
the first time that I saw somebody willing to take that kind of risk on me.
But do you think that a person that's successful take risks that they say, man, I don't think this kid could do it? I don't think so.
No, I think that
people take risks with the appropriate reward. They have to believe the upside on you.
They see potential, But a lot of places down there, they hire family, friends, people they know. And this actually rolls into other people I met.
Mm-hmm.
Because after this person left, there was another person that came in. I did not like this person at all. I felt like I was being sabotaged.
Personally, or what was it?
Personally. There are very few people that I've ever met in my life that I do not wish well to, regardless of what they've done to me. And this is one of like the maybe 3 people I've ever met. Not because of what you do to me, but because of what you've done to other people.
Yeah, it's just how they treat other people. Got it. Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you're harming me, that's one thing, You're doing something that's going to affect my family, that is a completely different scenario. So, yeah, this was, I guess I felt like I was being pushed out. And it's one thing to come up and be like, hey, this is the direction we're going. I don't feel like you fit the mold. It's another thing to be like, again, everybody's liars. To bring that back out of me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's one of the things I personally saw for myself. I know you're lying because I can identify that now. So, anyway.
Can we go back to your mentor for a second?
Sure.
I don't know if you're giving him enough credit.
Oh, he's a phenomenal person, not just to me.
I'm not speaking to him.
Yeah.
I'm saying for you to acknowledge that, yes, anybody's cousin can get a job, but you weren't his cousin.
No.
And ultimately, he'd have to answer for you for a recommendation and say, hey, you recommended this guy. He's shit.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? I think you need to just take a second and realize that he had to see something in you that maybe you didn't see in yourself at the time.
Oh, for sure. I did not see. I was kind of aimless. I didn't really feel like I had a direction as far as career goes.
But just write that into your story. It's not just the loyalty. Right? Because that's bravado. You have to give him credit where credit's due, where he's like, he stood for you when you didn't stand for yourself.
Yeah. And he kind of shaped what I wanted to be like.
Great. Here's the flag that you can plant and say, one day I want to try to be like that person. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, most of even today, a lot of the things I do in the jobs that I take and the decisions I make on the way I treat people are kind of centered around that.
Of what? What is the ethos of that?
How I felt like I was being treated. I felt like I was being, looked after. I was being treated, with a sense of responsibility that was, you can do more. I know you're capable more than, you may see. And I'll help you get there.
That's seeing the better in somebody and standing for that, because it may not be there today.
Right.
But it could be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
So like notice that. That's now what you're doing. So what one person showed you you can do, now it's become a part of you where you're like, that's what I'm about.
Yes.
I'm going to stand for a person. But you're not just going to do that to anyone. When you're going to say, look, I believe in you, you could do more. You have to take that and take it somewhere.
Entirely.
And I'm here to support that. But you're not going to go to somebody that's not doing anything with their life and tell them, I believe in you, to be like, get your shit together.
Right.
Right? Like there's a difference. I want to make sure there's like a distinct difference in people.
Of course. Yeah. And his approach with me wasn't micromanaging me to get to do better. It was, hey, I believe in you. This is what you can do. And I was kind of like a blank slate at the time, right?
Mhm.
So to speak. And, I didn't necessarily know if I'd like the work, but turns out, love it. I love the drive it gives me. Like, usually when there's, you have to push yourself to finish something, like by a deadline, people struggle in those situations sometimes, but I thrive in it. And it's one of those things that you can't pretend like it's not there. I have a hard time sitting still,
Mhm.
and that's kind of one of those things you pick up along the way. You kind of look at yourself in the mirror and say, what kind of person are you today? Are you going to sit back and let somebody else do all the work? Or are you going to do it yourself?
So now that you've explained to us kind of like your arc of your history, and obviously a very condensed one,
Mhm.
help me understand now all that you've taken from that. Like, how's that changed you as a person?
Okay. So during this time frame, right, I am going to Texas, flying back and forth. I was flying away, and I would go away for 3 or 4 weeks or a couple months and then come back for a week, spend time with the family, and then repeat, right? I would come home. My kids were getting bigger, and I had my second son around this time. I would come home. They look bigger. They have a hard time recognizing me. That was hard for me to take in.
Right. The process.
Yeah. My kids don't really recognize me until a few hours later, looking at me like, who are you? It's like, holy cow. I need to figure out a way to improve this, you know? So we started looking at coming back to Las Vegas.
Why Vegas?
It's home.
Hmm.
I mean, everything I didn't get in Texas, Vegas had. It was kind of back in the day, you could go to the store at like midnight.
Yeah.
That was kind of nice.
Well, you could go to the store or Walmart at least anytime, and
Yeah.
then they changed that to midnight.
Right. So it's like 3 a.m. I can go shopping.
Yeah.
It's like, God, I kind of miss that.
Yeah.
I kind of miss having everything available to me.
So the convenience of that basically comes with Vegas.
Yeah, but not just that. We had friends that were here at the time. My mom was going to move back.
Oh, okay. So that's probably a big one too.
So, yeah, we were able to come back. I
Mhm.
was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. I mean, I was flying in and out anyway, right? So my family ended up moving back here. And I remember my wife was playing softball at the time. And I remember being on the phone with my older half brother.
Professionally or
No.
got
Just
it.
locally.
Yeah, got it.
So I remember being on the phone with my half brother. And over the years, we talked about, why aren't you going to make things up with dad? Now,
Oh, so the dad conversation's coming up now.
yeah.
So you had a blow up. You guys had an argument and you just left it as like, just never kind of what you did with your other friend. You just cut him off.
Yes. So
Would he reach out through those years?
at one point, I was willing to sit and go to lunch with him.
No, but did he reach out at all through those years?
Oh, through those years, I think he sent something through the mail maybe, but it was always, pretending nothing's wrong.
Oh, so he's still
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Pretending nothing's wrong. My brother, I'll leave that one later. So I'm talking to my half brother,
Older or the younger one?
older.
Yeah.
He's about 4 years older than me.
Okay.
So we would chat, right? He's in a more of a relatable place in my life than my younger one is. So we would talk, and him and most of that side of the family would say, Chris, you got to fix this. And I'm just like, what did I do wrong? And
Fix this meaning the relationship with your dad.
Hmm?
Got it.
I was like, I don't think I did anything wrong. But and at the same time, they're putting it on me to fix this.
Yeah.
Why should I fix this? Well, he's too stubborn. He's not going to do anything. Okay. That's not good enough for me.
Mhm.
The reason I'm not going to. So anyway, I was chatting with my younger brother ended up moving in with us when we were in Texas. And then he ended up finding his way and moving out. Somewhere along that time frame, I think I asked him, what was said whenever my son was born or my kids were born, right? And apparently, whatever was said, my younger brother didn't want to tell me. So it must not have been good.
But how does that even come up, this thing that you think about? Like, you asked him what was his opinion because you didn't tell him about your kids being born?
I don't remember the subject of the conversation. I remember what it made me feel. I remember that there was a moment where it was about his opinion of my kids.
But I'm trying to wrap my brain around this. Somebody told you that he did not have a great opinion about your children?
Yeah, well, I was under the impression because of what my younger brother had said. And if my younger brother was willing to call me during that fight, then I should probably listen.
But this is years later after the fight, right? Yeah, okay.
So
And so he calls you and he tells you,
he was living with us in Texas. And he says,
so he kept the relationship with your dad.
yeah,
Got it.
he had a relationship with him. He still does. And so does my half brother, my older brother. And my younger brother didn't want to tell me what he had said,
Got
which there's only one reason that I could think of, is that it would be bad.
Yeah, it's probably not the greatest.
Right.
Yeah.
At that point in my life, I don't care what you say about me anymore. I'm beyond that. You don't talk bad about my kids. Again, another straw, right?
But are you?
Beyond,
I don't think you are beyond that. The emotion that you just showed me about your father, and I said you don't need to carry it. There's no way that didn't affect you, brother. There's just no way. And specifically that it's the person that you feel this way towards that would now say something about your kids. Like, I can't even fathom that. You'd be fucking pissed.
Oh yeah. And there's absolutely no way I'm never gonna reach out.
Right.
So, I mean, at this point, yeah, no, not my kids. Never.
Why did your brother ever tell you why he was telling you to reach out?
No, they all thought it was on me to fix it because he was too stubborn.
Got it. Okay.
And they wanted me to mend it. And they say, well, you're just as,
Stubborn.
just as stubborn as him.
Right.
In that case. I was like, maybe more. Who knows? I can live with that.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to say who it comes from. It comes from me.
Well, it's probably a behavior you learned from him. But
yeah.
The whole point is you don't see value in the relationship with your father.
Right.
At that time.
Yeah. Progressively after I moved out of his house and onto my own, even if I didn't finish college at the time, things got better for my life as far as I see that. So if I think things are better in my life, why would I go back?
Yeah, there's no value. Value is the perceived benefit of something. So there's no benefit to having your father in your life.
Correct.
Yeah, I got it.
So, wow, things are better on the other side. I'm not going to go back and,
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, I was very bad at confrontation back then. I was very bad at like I said, expressing my emotions. I'm angry about this. Hard as that to say now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, I mean, you can look back and be like, okay, I think I did make the right move, So going through it, you're like, I'm not doing it because I'm not going to do it. It's just not in me. But even now, I'm just like, probably a good move, Who knows? But anyway, they're trying to get me at this time frame to mend things.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have no interest. I said, it's not going to happen. I mean, sorry, not
Right.
sorry. But yeah, it's too broken for me to do anything. So fast forward some odd years, we're back in Las Vegas living. And what was it? I find out before I reach this point, I'm going to tell you the day that we had that falling out is the day I stopped calling him dad.
Addressing him as dad. Got it.
Yes.
Mhm.
If I talk to my brothers, he's considered old man because I didn't perceive him further as a father
Mhm.
to me.
Understandable.
To them, sure. You know, do I want them to have a good relationship? I want their experience to be better, of course, right? But I felt like they probably even understood like why I'm not talking to them, not talking to him, right? Why I don't want him in my life. But they think from their perspective, family's probably better. We've always had family instilled as being the most important thing.
Right.
But to me, family's kind of what you make it. Yeah. I want family around, yeah. But I'm also going to protect my family, the one I'm making. So
Would it be okay that you define your family as just like the close circle of people you keep?
yes.
Because it could be your kids now that you feel closer to, but you could also have friends that you consider family because you're like, hey, they're
Yeah.
just very close to my circle.
I don't deem it as like next of kin by any
Right.
means.
Got it. Okay. Just want to make sure.
Yeah. I mean, who you having around at, holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. But I never fixed things with him. And after a while, I'm okay with that. I have my life and I
So
take
can
peace in
we
that.
can we talk about that? Because what if somebody's in that right now and has the same situation with, but not necessarily father, could be with mom.
Right.
What is it how do you process to be okay with it?
So I'll give you a good example. I found out he was getting married. And my brothers were like, you should go. And I was like, I never received an invite. So you guys
But would
go.
you have gone if you received an invite?
I talked with my wife about this, right? And if he would have called me to say, hey, can we talk? And then
No, I hear you. Just stick to the marriage for a second.
Right.
He's getting married. Would you have gone? Because there might be other people in this situation.
Not as things were. No, I didn't go.
So the only answer for you is we need to talk about this.
Right. That comes
this
first.
impasse that we're with.
Right. That comes
Yep.
first. And it was not my job to reach out. It was his, as far as my side of things goes. And it wasn't a weakness thing. It was an I was wrong thing. And it is okay to be wrong. That's where people seem to fall short. It is okay to be wrong. But you need to address that.
Okay, so can I share with you kind of what happened with my mom?
Please.
Similar situation. She just wasn't a very good mom. She didn't know how to be a mom. What do I mean by that? When I think of a mom, I think of like a very supportive, like feminine figure, somebody that, I think I've shared this before, but somebody that you think like, man, I could run into their arms and just feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And like, whatever the world's coming to, I could just run in there and like hug her and be like, it all disappears. I don't know what that feels like. I've never have. I don't know what I've never experienced it, so I don't know what that's like, right? And I was very angry with my mom. 4 years old, I got shipped to my grandparents in Mexico. I grew up in Mexico.
Right.
From 4 till like 11. This whole time, the only interaction I have with my mom that I can remember, maybe there were some other ones, but like she would randomly call me maybe once every like few years.
Mm-hmm.
But the one memory, kind of like you, right, that stood out is I think it was like my 10th birthday. And she sent me gifts in the mail, which I'm sure cost her some money. It was very kind that she even thought of it. That's not how I felt that time. But I remember that what impacted me was when I opened them, and the gifts were for like somebody much younger,
Right.
like things that a young person would play with. Not, I was 10, just understand my mindset at the time. I thought it was like a younger person would play with these things, not somebody of 10 years old. Like I want, Ninja Turtles, and I want like figurines because my dad would bring me those.
Right.
I want things that I would wanted to like do things with. She sent me like a little foamy basketball thing, like for the
Right.
trash. And I don't know why. It just really impacted me. I was just like, dude, this is how checked out she is. She doesn't even know like who I am or what I want or what I liked. And I just remember I felt so alone. Like just not wanted because my dad didn't live there. My dad was kind of like you. He'd be in the US for like 3-4 months, come down for a couple of weeks, kind of like vacation, and then
Yeah.
have to go back and work. And I didn't see him the rest of the time. So I just felt like an unwanted child that was thrown to his grandparents. And I lived in a very small town in Mexico, not a city. My grandparents were super strict Catholic, old school. They slept in separate beds, like old school,
Rural.
very.
Yeah.
And so I literally, I internalized everything. I was like, I just unwanted. And that's what drove my darkness, bad, pessimism, insecurity, self-worth, non-existent.
Right.
So I share this because here's this moment that now comes when I'm older. And I'm recognizing, and I'm like, man, I hadn't been married with kids yet, but I was just like, dude, it's got to be tough. I think I'm 24 at the time. Man, it's got to be tough to be a parent. Because I was, at that age, I started considering like, do I want to have kids? Do I want to get married? Do I want to do any of this stuff? Do I want to start a family? And when I started thinking about doing it, I was like, man, it seems so hard to try to raise somebody. And so it gave me a lot of perspective about where to put my mom at the time and how to kind of figure that out. Because I didn't have a relationship.
Did you think about what kind of parent you wanted to be because of the experience you had?
No, because all I thought is I don't want to be them.
Right.
I don't know if that's normal. All I wanted to do was to not make another person feel the way that I felt.
Right.
That was everything to me. Just don't make somebody else feel that shitty, that insignificant. That's
Right.
how I thought of it. Like so worthless. So I sit back and I say, man, how? I felt like you. I was like, I'm not the mom. Like, figure it out. Figure out how to be a mom. Like, be a mom to me. And there was a lot of processing I had to do with emotions. A lot. I cried a lot. I just had to get out this idea of feeling worthless.
Right.
Of like to her. Does that make sense? Like,
Of course.
I have to experience and let go this idea that I'm not worth anything to her. And that's when I started finding some self-worth in myself of like, you know what? Even if nobody thinks you're worth anything, do you? And that was the sad part. I didn't at the time.
Right.
That I had to process. So as I'm coming out the other end of that, after like maybe 2 years of just crying my eyes out as best as I could, I felt like I'd experienced that emotion and I was over it. Like, I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want to be worthless. I need to be worth something, at least to me.
Right.
That's when I started working on myself a lot. And like, what do I want out of life? Blah, 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 all these things. So anyway, the reason I tell you this story is because here's this moment that I had like you. I'm at an impasse. I have to understand, where does this go from now? I could sit back and look at her and say, hey, it's your responsibility to be a mom, and I'm going to wait here till you do. And then I had to look at myself and say, hey, man, you're 24 years old. You're the fucking adult now. You're not a kid.
Right.
And that hit me hard because the victimness of it feels so good to be like, you're a shit person. But if you remove that for a second and you say, I'm an adult, what am I doing with this choice?
Right.
It hits different. So I had to sit back, and what I came up with, again, this is not, for anybody listening, this is not your answer. This is my answer. I said, fine. I think what I need to do is talk to my mom. And I think what I need to do is just share with her where I'm at and why I'm there. It's going to be tough. Share with her, and then you need to be over it. It doesn't matter what she tells me. Her response is irrelevant. It's, are you willing to turn the page? And I couldn't have that conversation with my mom until I mentally, at least, could say, I think I'm prepared. So my mom happened to be in town, and I was like, she's staying with my sister. My sister and her had a very close relationship with all my sisters. I said, hey, do you think I can get like an hour of your time? Just kind of want to talk to you. She's like, oh yeah, come to your sister's house. I'm like, that's where it's got to be. That's where it's got to be. Like, I don't have a choice, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is okay. I said, hey, just so you know, I want to have a conversation with you, and it's probably not going to be the funnest, but I'm not here to tear you down, and I just want to have this conversation if you'll give me the time. She says, yeah. It's like, okay. So I go over, and my sister lived in these shitty apartments, and she had like a little bench. You know how apartments are, like right in front of the front door. We sat there. I was like, well, I guess I don't get to choose. This is where it happens, right? And I sit down, and I basically express to my mom all of these feelings that I have. I said, look, I don't feel like you were a great mom. I feel like you abandoned me. I felt like...
It's okay.
All these things that come up for me. It's weird that they come up now. And I was like, you know what? I know it was hard. It's just the way that I felt. And I just want you to know that that's not how I perceive you. It's so hard. I don't know why I feel like this right now. Anyway, I tell this to her, and it's weird. I'm getting more choked up now than I did then. And I was like, look, I get it. It's tough. I just need you to know that I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm just trying to let you know this is me. So weird.
Take your time. It's okay.
Dude, I was even this emotional when I talked to her. But I told her, I was like, look, I'm doing this not for you. I'm not doing this so that you feel bad. That's not my intent. I said, I'm doing this just because I have to say it. And I'm saying it because I'm leaving it here. Whatever you do is your choice. I said, but me, I want to leave it here. And what I need is just to tell you so that you understand my side of it.
Yeah.
I said, and I want to give you time to give me your side of it. And she did. She took time, and, you know, I wish I had this like really cool magical story to talk about of how like cathartic it was, and you know, how she explained to me how difficult her life was, and, you know, like to understand. It just didn't happen. That wasn't the responses. It just, unfortunately, it just showed me how detached she was from understanding. She was just like, you know, your dad took me from you. It was a lot of like victimness, unfortunately. And it was so hard to take in because you're an adult now.
Right.
I can't sit there and be like, oh yeah, you know, I'm not here to crucify her. I was there to listen objectively and openly of like, what do you have? Unfortunately, the thing that she shared, a lot of it wasn't my fault.
Did you feel, is there a word you would put to it? Did it feel empty? Or like you didn't get what you were
No,
wanting?
it felt authentic. Like what she told me, I'm sure that was her truth.
Yeah.
It's just when you look at it from a more adult perspective. I mean, think about it. I'm crying right now. I'm 42 and I did this when I was 24. Like you just realize that as you get older, there's never a right time to
Right.
do this. And so there's going to be a reason why I give you this story. I had it in my mind. I'm like, I don't want to carry this anymore. I don't. I want to leave it here. I'm trying to grow. I need to get beyond this. Hence why I told you, like, don't
Right.
carry it. So I said, okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I said, I want you to know, after the conversation, right? She shared a whole bunch of other things. I said, I want you to know I'm turning the page, meaning we write something new. You choose what we write on it. You get to choose what we do, how we do it, how we communicate. I said, I leave that to you. I said, just know that what I'm doing is just giving you this opportunity. I don't know how to drive this relationship.
Right.
I don't know where to take it. I don't know what you want out of it. So all I can do is to create the space to start fresh. That's it. She's like, thank you. I was like, look, let's chat whenever you want to. You have my number. You ever want to like hang out? Like, let me know. I'll make the time. Like, it was anything to try to,
Right.
where could we go? And I don't have a Disney story. There wasn't like, wow, she really tried. She gave me she maybe called me a few times after that, every couple weeks, and then months. She would invite me.
Yeah.
Very rarely. And so then this is why I tell you this story. That happened when I was 24, and I think like a few years later she got sick. And then she got really sick.
Yeah.
Fast. So fast that I never spoke to her really after that. And after those few engagements, and then she went to a coma before I spoke to her again. And, you know, when I went to the hospital, I was there with my family because we had to make a decision to basically take her off life support. And I share this with you because you have no idea the sense of peace that I had in that moment when I needed it to be strong for my family and my sisters because they were losing their shit. And if I had not taken that moment for myself, I don't think that I could have been put together for them to support and make the decisions I needed to make, because that would have always been over me.
That makes sense.
And I'm so grateful that I was able to create that moment with her because I left for me. I left that clean. And I share the story with you because I don't know how I would have felt if I didn't. I didn't know she was going to die a few years later. I never knew that I would never really speak to her again. And God, I'm so grateful that I had that because in my last moment with my mom, she's in this ICU unit and they say, you know, go ahead. It's probably the last time you're going to talk to her. And remember, she's hooked up to machines. Like, she's kind of non-responsive when anybody talks to her. The only time she moves is when my sister, my middle sister, talks to her. She like kind of flops, which is to this day very strange to me. I don't know if that was like her connection with my sister or whatever it was. And we go in one by one, and
It's okay. Take a second.
I remember, it's like, what are you going to say? This is the last thing that you're going to tell her. It's like, what are you going to say? And the only thing that came to mind to me was, Mom, everything's going to be okay. You don't have to worry about anything anymore. Go be happy. And I didn't say that empty. Like, I meant that. And if I hadn't had that conversation with her before, I don't know if I could have said that. And I'm just grateful that my cards played out the way they did, because I was able to be in that moment and mean it.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine being in that moment and having like anger, or to have what I experience with you right now when you talked about your dad. It's like, don't carry it. Because what if you carry it for the rest of your life because you never got the opportunity to talk to him and say, look, man, let's just bury it. No need for it.
When it comes to, thank you for sharing.
No problem.
When it comes to the rest of life, right? He's getting up there in age.
Yeah.
I understand this. And I think, and part of the reason I'm doing this is because I found peace in knowing that I'm happy with my family. And I hope my brothers are happy with him. I hope he finds peace in knowing that, he has a relationship with my brothers. And if he wanted to call, then it's up to him.
But what about you? I get what you're saying about your brothers.
I don't feel like I need it. This is what I think is going to happen. I think that he probably will never call. And I think that I can live with that. And I can live with myself. I'll be there for my brothers when the hard stuff comes. And that's why I bring them up. To me, he didn't necessarily die that day I stopped calling him dad.
Right.
He stopped being that to me.
Correct. That role. Like you just felt you didn't have anybody playing that role now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And mentors I had, that kind of was a role for me, It was like I saw it as like a father figure kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
So it's not that I was looking for that, but I found things I wasn't looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it helped me kind of get through, And I didn't mention this earlier, but the years I spent in therapy were also helpful.
Yeah.
He's roughly 40 years older than me. I know it's inevitable to happen. And it will probably happen within the next 20 years of my life.
But have you honestly thought about it in the terms of, are you happy where it's at? Forget what happened. I'm not, that's irrelevant. It's, are you at peace with you and whatever you have to do before that day? And it's crazy that I'm telling you, I got more emotional now than I did in the moment and don't know why. But forever I share that story because I don't think I could have the peace of mind that I do if I hadn't done that. I just do not think so. And here's an example. One of my sisters had a lot of pent up energy towards my mom. And what I heard is she unloaded all of it onto my mom because she had to be heard. There's nothing wrong, just choice and time, right?
Right.
She did all that. And then my mom went into a coma the next day. So imagine where she's at with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine being in that state where like I needed to feel heard.
You're not.
And then not have an answer from the person that you were seeking.
Right.
So for you, look at it maybe from a different perspective. You do have a moment to still have a conversation. Not that you should,
Right.
but maybe just consider the option of saying, is there anything that I may need to say so that I can say, I'm good.
That
I
might
did
not get
it.
the chance to again.
Potentially, yes.
Yes. And
Again, no need for
of
answer
course.
now. I'm just saying, just something to think about.
Yeah, and I've had that thought myself. You know, is there anything? And I'm just like, I don't think so. I don't think that if they call, I got the call tomorrow, right? And it said, hey, this is, can't anymore. You know, I would probably say to myself, well, he didn't call. I wonder how my brothers are doing, you know?
I hear that. But what about you and your sense of peace? Are you're not hoping for a call,
No.
but would you, if you got the call,
Hmm?
do you know the conversation that you've had? Does that make sense? It's like regardless of him, you still have to know what you have to say for you.
Yeah.
So if you remove the need for him to call you to say it, would you still want to say those things, regardless of it? I don't know the
No.
answer.
It'll probably all come up one day if it does, but I don't feel like I have anything. And that's
Okay.
where I find peace in that.
Okay.
And that's what I carry forward with me. I mean, I look at all the things that I've experienced and gone through, right? And I have 2 kids, you know, they're growing up, they're hitting preteen and just before it. And that is when a lot of stuff started kicking off for me, right?
What do you mean?
As far as like pessimism, negativity, and me having bad relationship with my father.
What do you mean started kicking off?
It was about that time of my life, whenever I was, you know, getting into high school, whenever relationships, as far as my father, started going bad. And it's not that I fear that repeating, like having a poor relationship with my kids. It's what can I do to make sure that doesn't happen? Like, and I think that's kind of everybody's, you know, goal with their kids, right? I think I'm doing this right, but it's the best I know.
Right. Which I think that's where most parents are.
Yeah.
But if you look at it in a way to say, I hope I'm doing right, it's more of how do you pass along the learning that you made to your kids? What do I mean by that? I mean, consider little Chris with the
Yes.
self-esteem issues. What actually helped you with that?
Practice.
No, but
And I say practice, I
here,
mean,
yeah.
what helped me is I guess fake it till you make it was my approach. Fake confidence.
But what I'm saying is Chris now
Yes.
is going to talk to little Chris.
Mhm.
How is he going to teach Chris to have self-confidence? Because faking it till you make it is not
Right.
good practice.
Oh no, it's not.
So that's what I mean. It's like, what is the actual learning? Now we're to the point where you could speak to all the learning that you have today and to help others understand how you correlated that back. So how did you help yourself to say, I am confident? What were those things that you did to overcome that?
I guess being unconfident in myself, not confident. The right word. Not being confident in myself caused me to look at myself in the mirror a lot, right? What am I not confident about? I'm not confident in the way that don't feel like I'm able to talk to people. Okay, how do you talk to people? Well, you find out, you greet them formally, informally. You find out their likes. Walk up to people. Hi, you seem nice. What's your name? Okay. So then you turn around and go, I don't, okay, I'm getting better at this. Okay. What else did you like about yourself? Well, I'm super skinny. That's gone now, but that was a natural thing. Okay, I'm really skinny, not real comfortable in my own skin. What can I do to fix that? Well, I can go to the gym, I guess, and that would make me feel, more confident in myself. All right. But then it turns into I'm also 6 foot. Okay. Well, I look at other people that aren't 6 foot, right? That are shorter. Say, hey, a lot of them are very confident. Oh, okay. Well, what makes you confident? Well, you know, I make people laugh. I like this, I like showing people my world. Well, that's neat. I can do that. So you start kind of inwardly looking at yourself I look at other people and then look at myself in them and the things that I like about what they do. And I try and make it so that if this person is happy, what are they happy about? Why can't I be happy about that kind of thing?
So, how are you going to support your kids in that learning process? Because this is what we just said. Parents do the best that they can,
Yes.
right? How are you going to do better than what you think you can?
So something that I never really felt is I talk to my kids openly about things. The things I never learned growing up, I try to make sure I do with my kids. You hit certain milestones. You learn how to shave, things like that, right? I was never taught how to shave. You just did it. So I take the time and do things with my kids. Hey, I don't like doing this thing. Well, come on, let's do it together.
Let's say somebody's listening to this and says, you know what? I'm Chris. I'm little Chris right now.
Yeah.
I don't have self-esteem, or I don't think I do.
No, right.
So what are the things that you did, which would be the same things that you would try to teach your kids to say, hey, this is a path out? What would that be?
Look inward. What do you like about yourself? If you like those things about yourself, other people probably like those things too. And that's how even my youngest kid, you want to make friends. I mean, other people externally can help with that. My kids have hard time making friends. I had a hard time making friends. Okay, cool. Let's walk. Hello, friends. What are your names? Oh, that's cool. What are you interested in? I'm interested in this. So it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be comfortable in your skin. There's nothing wrong with you. You get comfortable in your skin by just going through and accepting yourself. And something that I do is I spend a lot of time shaving. And I spend a lot of time shaving because I think to myself in the mirror. I look myself in the eye. I say, are you comfortable with what you did today? Can you look at yourself in the mirror? Kind of a portrait of yourself, right? What do you like about yourself? Is there some things you think you should change? I overthink a lot, and I'm having lots of conversations in my own head. You think all the things I've said today, I haven't thought of 20,000 other things? No. But these are the things that are coming out.
So pull it all together for me as a parent.
Mm.
What do you think are the most important things that you've learned from how we know you had experiences of your parents to what you're experiencing, what you've done so far? What does it look like into the future for you? What you would recommend, like what's important to you about parenting?
Being involved with your kids, as far as at least me, right? I'm seeing this in other kids, like, and their parents. Kids just will either isolate themselves or won't talk to each other. At least that's what I would have done too. So I see that in them. I mean, parents can help the kids make friends. Well, why aren't you talking to this kid? They seem nice. if you're interested in something, maybe find out what your friends are interested in. And turns out, eventually, if you're really talkative enough, like I was, then you can kind of start to figure out, oh, well, for me, it was all trial and error, right? And you kind of try and take the best things and, pass them on, right? But it's going to take a lot of trial and error. It's okay to not know what you're going to do. If this thing didn't work talking to this person, try something else. I mean, why do you like the things you like? Take an interest in somebody else other than yourself. Look externally. That's what I do. Look internally.
So is this your advice to other parents of what's been working for you?
People, parents, kids, anything. I mean, I'm a big proponent of, if it doesn't, only a fool tries the same thing over and over, expecting it to work. So try different things. I mean, I like to motivate my kids by telling them, hey, these things are interesting out there. Aren't you interested in what this person is interested in? Well, what are they interested in? I mean, try and see it from their point of view, right? Because for me, a lot of the theme I'm running here is not everybody saw things from my point of view. They saw it from theirs. Much like I'm sure you.
Mm-hmm.
So try and see things from somebody else's point of view. Maybe you'll find interest in that thing. Maybe you'll find friends. There's nothing wrong with having friends. Or it all boils down to how you treat people, your approach. Approach for anything is important. And that's one of the things that I've learned with my kids. I'm still learning like crazy, learning to, handle my kids differently, give you what you need, not what you want sometimes. Or maybe sometimes doing what you want is the way to get what you need. So, I mean, constant learning experience. Still a student.
Good. What else did you want to chat about?
I can continue talking about one thing. Okay, and parenting. So once we got back to Vegas, right? My brothers had moved away, and this concept of family that we were talking about before, I think that's a really good one to go into. My kids don't really have their cousins around, and my kids were born early. We started young. My kids are like preteen and just about there, right?
Yep.
Their cousins are all like toddler, newborn, maybe 6 or under.
So large age gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to, they're not going to have that kind of family around them they can identify with. Kind of like me when I was a kid. And that's okay. They're getting friends. They're going to have their own group and they're going to hang out with them. My older one is completely social. I mean, much unlike me and I was back then, which I'm grateful for. My younger one, he's more similar to me, but he is very thoughtful and cares about what people, think. Be at the store, hey, my friend likes this thing that's on the shelf right here. Oh, I think I want to get it for him. Can we get it for him? Yeah, we can get it for him. I mean, be cool if you shared things with him, but rather than, just not. I mean, it's more of a social thing to share than it is to give someone something. Is how I perceive things, at least for them. And definitely my older one he's a tough kid. He's going to get through a lot, but he learns like I did. He's hiding stuff. Make sure he won't tell you everything that's going on with him. But he does communicate much better than I did back then. So these are all definitely things that I want for my kids. So any parenting advice you got?
I don't think I have anything parenting advice. Anything that I say about parenting is just very similar to what you say. Just talk to your kids, try to figure them out, try to help them figure themselves out. That's it. That's your job. You need to raise them so that they can go interact with the real world that's outside, not whatever sheltered world you try to keep them from.
Yeah, I was very bad at showing affection before. What's your love language? Just curious.
If I were to really break one down, it's just I forget what it is. It's like time.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it's touch, right? Physical touch. And for a long time, it's just I felt uncomfortable doing that around people. You know, I mean, like hugging relatives, things like that. You just kind of felt like you were forced to do it. You know, it was expected of you.
Was it something that you just didn't grow up with?
No, I did, and it was like you don't. How do you ask for a hug? You know what I mean? It's
Well, you don't ask for it, but if you know how to receive hugs, you
Right.
know what it is to give a hug.
right.
So if you don't receive hugs, you don't understand the concept of one.
Well, I wasn't comfortable trying to give somebody a hug or whatever, right? And as time progresses, it's like, okay, well, this is how you show affection. But it turned into well, how does that person receive love from me? That's what I started learning therapy wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does this other person receive love? Well, I might receive love this way, but my wife's is like acts of service. Oh, well, how can I do that? You know, hey, I cleaned the house before you got home because I know you don't like clutter. I made sure that the house was clean so that we could spend more time together. That's what I really want to do. Oh, okay. So you start to try and pick up on these kinds of things. For me, it's kind of like love bombing, right? I started trying to get the all of them together. I think there's 5 love languages, right? So I tried to get all 5 together.
Trying to get a Thanos glove
Oh yeah,
of love.
yeah, yeah. You have no excuse now. We're gonna hang out. So yeah, it's like I'm trying to get better at all the other ones that and especially my own. If I didn't feel comfortable doing it, like even you, I'll hug you. You
Yeah.
know? But it's like at first I was like, well, I'm not. I mean, is it okay? You're not comfortable with it, right? At first, or you're not certain. Kind of like talking. I'm sure whenever we first met, I was very quiet,
Yeah.
and then it all came out.
That's good though.
Just as loud.
You found your confidence.
Yeah.
It was just to be authentic.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
That's the important part.
Yeah. I mean, back then it's like I don't know who my audience is. Well, and after a certain extent, it's like, does it matter who your audience is if you're just gonna be you?
There is no audience. You're not there to play.
Exactly.
You're just there to be you.
So that's what it ended up turning into.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
No, I just mean it. Thank you. Thanks, dude.
Appreciate it.
So fucking sorry that I lost my shit there for a second, but